Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tipped. My name is Julian, and this is the waiver wire video for week 19 of the fantasy hockey season. Before we get started, please leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and follow me on Twitter at Fantasy Tipped. I'm always posting there to help you guys out and help you win each and every week. Now, without further ado, let's jump right into the waiver wire video content, and let's start with the schedule for the week. And as you can see here, the off nights this week are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Monday and Wednesday particularly, there's not a lot of games. On Monday, there's only 3 games, and on Wednesday, there's only 4. So if you can maximize the amount of players playing on those nights, you have a pretty good shot of winning the week. Friday as well, it's only 7 games. So that's also an off night, and that definitely could help you by, having more games on that night. And that way you'll get the most man games possible this week. Now, there is one team that plays on all 3 off nights, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And that team is the Los Angeles Kings. They are the #1 team to stream this week for that reason. Now, there are a few teams that play on 2 of the off nights. The best team out of those is the Toronto Maple Leafs because they do play on both Monday and Wednesday. And the other teams, Buffalo, Dallas, New Jersey, and New York, play on Friday and either Monday or Wednesday. So they're pretty decent streamers as well. Now, there are 4 teams this week that only play 2 games, so those are kind of the worst teams to be streaming this week. And if you do have any low-owned players from these teams, you can consider dropping them. Those teams are Arizona, Florida, Nashville, and Pittsburgh. So let's jump right into some forwards that you can consider adding to your team now. And number 1 on the list is Boone Jenner of the Columbus Blue Jackets, 56% rostered. And wow, is he ever hot right now. Patrick Laine is scorching hot right now. Like, he's so incredibly hot right now. It's absolutely ridiculous. And Boone Jenner being the centerman for him on both the top line and the top power play, well, he's doing well too. So definitely a really great player to add to your team right now. And then I have Chandler Stevenson of the Vegas Golden Knights. And Vegas didn't really play a lot last week. But this week, Vegas has 4 games. And Stevenson is playing on the top line with Eichel and Pacioretty. That's a great place to be. He should be added in more leagues. And I have Tage Thompson and Alex Tuch. I know I've had these guys on this list for a few weeks now, but they have been exceptional. And they are must-adds if they are still somehow available on your waiver wire. And then I have Cole Caulfield of the Montreal Canadiens, 49% rostered. And, he's unbelievably hot right now. That line of Caulfield, Suzuki, and Anderson, that's a line you want to grab a piece of, and grab Caulfield if he's somehow still available because he's finally living up to the hype. Then I have Adrian Kempe and Victor Arvidsson of the Los Angeles Kings. And like I already mentioned, the Kings have the best schedule this week in terms of off nights. So if you grab one of these guys, you pretty much are guaranteed to be able to fit them in your lineup on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, which is really, really great. Kempe plays in the top line and top power play with Anze Kopitar, and he's been really, really hot. And Arvidsson plays on the second line and second power play, but shoots the puck a lot and is also very hot right now. And both are excellent adds for that reason. Next is Jakub Voracek of the Columbus Blue Jackets, and he's playing on that line with Jenner and Laine, also on that top power play, and he's been really hot lately as well, so he's a pretty solid add for this week. Then I have Michael Bunting of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they have that pretty good schedule where they play Monday and Wednesday this week. So he's a pretty good add considering that he does get to play on the top line with Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner. Always a good idea. Then I have Jeff Skinner, who was my Manscaped must-add player of the week last week. Doesn't really produce that much, but he's still playing on that top line with Tuch and Thompson, and also on the top power play with them. So the opportunities are definitely there, and he's definitely going to start potting in some goals. Then I have Anthony Mantha of the Washington Capitals, and he should be returning from injury very soon. And when he does, he'll probably get slotted in on that second line with Nicholas Backstrom. And I think that will make Backstrom start heating back up again. And Mantha, we all know, is a pretty good player. So honestly, if he's floating out there on your waiver wire and you have room on an IR spot, it's definitely worth adding him. And then I have Nico Hischier of the New Jersey Devils, who's insanely hot right now. And the Devils finally do have a much better schedule this week, so he makes for a pretty good add. Then I have Iafallo and Dano. Dano plays second line with Arvidsson and Trevor Moore, and Iafallo plays top line with Kempe and Kopitar. Iafallo also gets top power play, and Dano gets second power play, and they're both pretty good players. Iafallo is a little bit cold, but still has a good opportunity here to put up points on a week where LA has a very favorable schedule, and Dano is a little bit hotter, and also, again, the Kings have a great schedule this week, so pretty solid streamer if you need someone for those Monday, Wednesday, Friday off nights. Then I have Jakub Vrana, who's also injured right now, has been injured all year, but is very, very, very close to returning. Should return in the next game or two for the Red Wings. And last year, when he was traded from Washington to Detroit, he was a point per game for Detroit in the short amount of games that he played. He's not necessarily going to be a point per game this year, but he's definitely someone who's worth an add if he's floating out there on your waiver wire, because he could be a real difference maker. And then I have Josh Anderson of the Montreal Canadiens, 19% rostered. Had a little bit of an injury scare last game, but it seems like he's okay. He's playing on that top line with Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield, which is insanely hot right now. And right now, the Habs are really rolling thanks to Martin St. Louis, so you definitely want to add Josh Anderson. Next is my Manscaped must-add player of the video, Igor Sharangovich. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code word FANTASYTIPPED at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com with the code word FANTASYTIPPED. Unlock your confidence, guys, and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Now, why is Igor Sharangovich my Manscaped must-add player of the video? Well, he's insanely hot right now, and he's playing on the top line with Jack Hughes as well as a power play with Dougie Hamilton. His deployment is really good right now, and the dude is just insanely hot, so definitely someone to add for this week while he's crazy hot. Then I have Adam Henrique of the Anaheim Ducks playing on a line with Raquel and Trevor Zegras, and he's on a point streak right now, so he's also another really, really good add for low-owned 11%. And next is Trevor Moore of the Los Angeles Kings, and he had an insanely hot January, and he seems to be heating back up again. In his last couple games, he has 3 points, and he's got second-line time and on a team that's got a really nice schedule this week. And I have Kyle Palmieri, and I'll talk about Zach Parise at the end of this list as well. At the same time, they both play top line with Matthew Barzal, and they're both producing right now, so as long as they keep producing with Matthew Barzal, they make for worthwhile ads, especially since they're super low owned at the moment. And then I have Jake DeBrusk of the Boston Bruins, who's 4% rostered, who's currently playing on the top line with Marchand and Bergeron. As long as he stays there, he has a really good opportunity to put up some points and should be picked up in deep leagues. Jumping into defense now, and first on the list is Jakub Slavin of the Carolina Hurricanes, 63% owned. And D'Angelo is now out for at least a month, and Slavin is actually taking his spot on the top power play in Carolina, and he's already insanely hot. So combine the fact that he's already insanely hot with the fact that he's now getting PP1, yeah, I really like adding Jakub Slavin for the month. Then I have Jared Spurgeon of the Minnesota Wild, 58% rostered, gets top power play Minnesota, puts up points pretty frequently. Honestly, a pretty good ad. Then I have Jeff Petrie of the Montreal Canadiens, 51% rostered, and the Habs seem to be turning things around. And Petrie is one of the guys who seems to be turning around. He's putting a lot more points up now, and he's someone that I'm adding now before it's too late. Then I have Mark Giordano of the Seattle Kraken, seems to be putting up a lot of points, putting up some decent peripherals, and probably will get traded at the deadline. So maybe his value goes up, maybe it goes down. Honestly, probably goes down, but at least right now, his value is pretty good skating on that top power play in Seattle. Then I have Rasmus Anderson of the Calgary Flames, 47% rostered. And he's someone who's also getting top power play time in Calgary. And as long as he stays on that top power play, he has a decent amount of value. Then I have Noah Dobson, who's only 42% rostered, somehow should be way more rostered. He's been really, really good, puts up lots of blocks, lots of shots. And he puts up points all the time because he gets to play on that top power play in New York. Then I have Luke Schenn of the Vancouver Canucks, 17% rostered, and the dude's an absolute wrecking ball. He hits like crazy. He's been getting like 7-8 hits a night these days, which is absolutely nuts. And combine that with the fact he's actually getting a decent amount of blocks these days as well. It's a pretty good place for Luke Schenn. He's a really good ad, especially for Cats leagues. Then I have Matt Roy of the Los Angeles Kings, 15% owned, and he's a good guy for peripherals. And again, the Kings have a pretty good schedule, so if you already have full defense on the on nights, well, Matt Roy can definitely slot into your lineup on the off nights. Then I have Vladislav Gavrikov and Andrew Peeke. Gavrikov is a guy who been putting up points. He's a little bit hot right now point-wise. I'm not sure if that's going to last, but he's also putting up some decent peripherals. And Peeke I like for those blocks because he's been blocking a lot lately, and as long as he keeps that up, it's as long as I'm streaming him on my team. Then I have Martin Ferraveri of the Washington Capitals, 7% rostered, and he's been putting up some solid blocks and hits himself, which has given him a very safe floor night after night. Jumping into goalies, and first on the list I have Kaapo Kähkönen of the Minnesota Wild. He seems to be getting a good amount of starts now in Minnesota because he's been the better goalie overall lately, so makes for a pretty decent ad because he plays for a really good team. And I have Jonathan Quick, and I'll include Cal Peterson in this as well. They both started about half the games for LA. If that's what you need, a goalie that starts half the games for a fringe playoff team, that's not a terrible ad. Then I have Mike Smith of the Edmonton Oilers, and he hasn't been that good lately, but again, he's starting pretty much all the games for Edmonton, and Edmonton's a pretty good team. So, it's a bit of a gamble every time you roll out Mike Smith, but he is a starting goalie. And then I have James Reimer of the San Jose Sharks, 45% rostered, and with Hill still on the sidelines for God knows how long, James Reimer is getting every single start in San Jose. Makes for a really, really good ad, guys. I don't know why he's not over 50% rostered. Then I have Matt Murray of the Ottawa Senators, 26% rostered, and keep an eye on Philip Forsberg as well, just because he has been getting the starts and he's been playing really, really well. But Murray is back from injury now, and he should be ready to play. So assuming that he plays half decently, he is the starter in Ottawa, but, just keep an eye on Philip Forsberg as well. Then I have Craig Anderson, and we'll include Dustin Kokarski in this as well, and they're both starting about half the games for Buffalo. Anderson will be getting just a few more starts going forward, it looks like, but Kokarski is definitely someone that's addable in deeper leagues as well. Then I have Samuel Montembeault of the Montreal Canadiens, 8% rostered, and I included Andrew Hammond in this list last week, but Samuel Montembeault has been playing so well that it looks like he's going to be the starter until he starts playing poorly, which isn't happening right now. So Hammond will right now looks like be relegated to back-to-back games only, but Montembeault is a solid ad, especially since the Habs are playing so well. Then I have JF Berube of the Columbus Blue Jackets, and it looks like Merzlikins is ready to play again, so he's not necessarily some adding unless Merzlikin comes back and looks really, really bad. Then maybe they'll start giving games to Berube again, but it seems really unlikely. It was kind of a one-week thing for this week, Berube, and it looks like that's coming to an end, but it was a nice streak to ride while it lasted. Then I have John Gillies and Nico Daws in the New Jersey Devils, and John Gillies is a starter in New Jersey, but Nico Daws did play really well in his last game, so maybe they'll start giving him more starts, but for now, if I'm going to add a goalie from New Jersey, it will be John Gillies until Daws proves me otherwise. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. Please leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Hope you guys enjoyed the content today, and I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tips.